The days were so much fun, but now they're fading. Do you remember the time you said you'd die? I didn't mean to make you cry. That is fading. Da, 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 da. I've been kind of messing around with the new song idea, but what this section is, and this is section 6, this is gear. So it's a bit weird, because I said right at the beginning, it's not about equipment, and it really isn't. But what I want to talk to you now about creativity, and this is, what can I make in my life? What can I put and make and create in my life to make me more creative? Now, sometimes I said to you, remember the setup I said, comfortable room, nice chair, cup of tea, biscuits, bun, chocolate, whatever the hell it is you want. Something that makes you comfortable and ready to write. I'm now ready to write. I've got songs on my phone, on my iPad, on my laptop, some ideas I've got. Now I want to convert that into a song using all the lessons and things that we've done on this beginner's guide. Now, you will also notice I'm using a slightly different guitar. Now, there's a reason for that, because on this guitar, I'm going to kind of spin it round a little so you can see the back. You should be able to see, and Jay, can we see that on the screen? Great, I'll get the thumbs up. This is a thing called a tone wood amp. They're not expensive, and they stick on. There's an X brace stuck inside this guitar, glued in with 4 magnets. And this guitar, which plays perfectly normally with it inside, this comes off. So it sticks on by the magnets, because there's 4 of them inside the guitar glued in, and there's a sort of suction cup. Yeah. Now what that means is that it gives me 101 different kinds of effects. Can you hear that? Oh, just sliding around a bit there, sorry. That's my fault, sorry. Yeah. So you should be able to hear. And that sound is coming out of this acoustic guitar. So that's just not a regular acoustic guitar sound anymore. It's kind of dreamy and beautiful. I'm going to turn the battery off so we don't actually drain it. Now, the reason I wanted to really start with that piece of equipment, because that's technically what it is because I want you to understand that your creative side can actually be stimulated. You can stimulate your creativity, and again, it's with equipment. And not, by the way, you've got to spend thousands and thousands of pounds. Now, I mentioned earlier, again, not sponsored, this is by Digitech. This is an old model. They've got newer ones out now called a Trio. And this thing's got a bass and drums on. So if I play my guitar through there, it adds a bass and drums to me, which means if I'm on the street, I kind of sound like a mini band, and I can program things into it. And these are, you can get these secondhand now, probably 100 quid, etc. This, I wanted to point these out. This is Behringer, again, not sponsored by Behringer, but they make brilliant little pedals. Now these pedals, you plug your guitar into an amp, and the noises and sounds, this one's a digital multi-effects. And what that means, I've got chorus, delay, flanger, different noises. Now, why do I keep banging on about noises and different tones and things? It's because that stimulates my mind. I can make a dreamy sound. I can have an overdriven hard sound. That's me as a guitarist. That's me as a guitarist. You can do these effects in a computer. You can also add those effects to your piano. And the other thing I've just got sitting next to me, oink, is this. This is little Roland AC33. This is a battery powered amp, by the way, but it plugs in. They call it kind of buskers amp. Now what I like to do when I write sometimes is to isolate myself. And what I mean by that, I will plug this in. Yes, I know I've got a big old Marshall over my shoulder, and this is an acoustic amp, acoustic guitarist. And what I do, I'll plug my guitar into this little Roland, I'll plug headphones in, and I'll plug a microphone in. And then I'll turn up the reverb, and so when I've got my headphones on, I sound like I'm singing and playing in the Albert Hall, this massive kind of hall arena. And that can sometimes influence the style of writing I'm going to do. It makes me create chords in a different way. It makes me, oh, I've got an idea for a lyric. So what I'm really talking about is stimulus. How can I stimulate myself with equipment, with instruments, with a comfortable room, with good food, cup of tea? How can I do that? And I need you to find that on your journey. Now, again, I really want to stress, you do not have to spend lots and lots of money. I said earlier, on guitars, you can have capos and things. But it's really all about a vision. And let's go through some of those words again. That narrative I talked about, the creativity within you, the desire to create something that links me to you and vice versa. As I said, to be a songwriter is to be a narrator, the narrative, to give me a story that I can believe in, buy into, or recognize so much within myself that I'm thinking, oh, you kind of know how I think. And the reason that you know how I think, we're all pretty much the same. Somebody once talked to me about humans and why humans the way they are. I said, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, every human I ever met wants to be loved, some family, some friends, some to live, holiday, some money, car. They want pretty much the same. So I often wonder where these differences that I'm always being told about come from. And yes, there's a much bigger argument to that. But I'm trying to keep us really grounded today and talk about every human who wants all those things wants music. They want songs. They want things that reflect themselves or their lives or their hopes and their dreams or their fear or their concerns. And that's where you come in. So the beginner's guide to songwriting is exactly that. You are now going to begin to write songs. So I'm going to leave you in a second with just this simple idea. Go through each of this guide that I've given you now. Write notes that are really things that you didn't know. One of the interesting things about anybody in the world telling you how to do something is you might go, well, I'm not doing it like that. Well, that's fine. This is a template. I need you to find the journey of how you're going to do it. What I'm trying to get across to you is the basic structure, that narrative, that element of practice, the element of creativity, what stimulates it, that comfortable room, that theory that in your life you're as good as anybody else and your songs could change something, could make people happy and just sing for an evening. Recently, I was asked, because of some of the troubles in the world, that when I do shows, do I worry it's frivolous or that's not important? And I often say to people, it's really important. You have a terrible day and there's a load of worries and you go and see a musician and they play something to you and just for a moment, you're lost. The world has gone. You're happy, you're sad, you're all these different emotions. And that is the art of songwriting. The narrative. I need you to narrate the life that I dream of, that I miss someone, that I love someone, that I want to meet someone. Find the way for you to set that down. Starts out pen and paper, computer, guitar, whatever your instrument is. But ultimately, at the end of that blank piece of paper, the thing that all writers fear, I want to see a song on it. And don't get hung up on whether it's the world's greatest song or the world's worst song. It doesn't matter. You need to begin. What's that thing? The journey of life begins with the first step. So as a writer, you're a beginner songwriter. But the next time I bump into you, you're a songwriter.